What we saying, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the Nerdic Pro podcast? How are we all? My name is, as per usual, Bobby effin Salastar, and once again, I shall be your host for today's podcast. And welcome back, coincidentally, to the Nerdic Pro podcast YouTube channel. This is the first live stream here on YouTube since, let me check, hang on, bear with me 2 seconds. Excuse me, since, I can tell you the exact date. Since the 5th of July, so nearly 2 months ago, there was a live stream last here on the Nerdic Pro podcast. But either way, welcome back. And literally bear with me 2 seconds whilst I share this live around. And so for those of you that have not seen the news on Facebook, on Friday, October 25th, 2024, I will be making my way up to Maplewell, up in Barnsley for Kmart Promotions debut show at the Stone Cross Club and at the Stone Cross Club in Maplewell in Barnsley as the special guest host for that show. So so tickets are available now. Head on over to the Kmart Promotions Facebook page or Instagram page to get more information on the tickets for that show. And so just sharing it now. So ideally want an alert thingy emoji. So alert. Okay. Right, so let's just title it now live on YouTube with where's the act? I can't even fucking spell. That's bad. Right. What the fuck? Why would I want to do it from there? Nerdic Pro podcast. All right. There we are. Sorry, literally doing everything like off my Xbox. And so welcome back to YouTube, for one. So what does everybody want to speak about? Well, I think one of the main sort of headlines that a lot of people are got to be speaking about at the moment is the announcement that has come out over the past sort of week or so with the announcement of the reunion tour of the Gallagher brothers of Oasis, which I am one of many who is very shocked the fact on how they are actually making a comeback to the music scene. In all honesty, I can't lie. So let's just find a notable sort of source, Oasis reunion, because there were rumors about it for a while, saying that they were coming back and what have you, you know. So because I was so here we are. So this is BBC out of all fucking places. Right, so Nanji and Stephen McIntosh, who are culture reporters from the BBC, had reported on the 27th of August, so about 5 days ago. Oasis fans have spent the weekend asking, is it definitely or is it maybe? Obviously, going in with the song for Wonderwall, the Oasis song. So on Tuesday, the rumours were confirmed. It's definite. In a press release, Liam and Noel Gallagher confirmed Oasis will reunite for a series of live shows next summer, with gigs in London, Manchester, Cardiff, Edinburgh, and Dublin. Fans in Burnage, were where the Oasis are from, so I assume up Manchester way. Can't wait, as they are a big part of my life growing up, said one woman who had an Oasis tattoo on her back. I'm so excited. We've grown up around the corner from Noel and Liam, said another. You can't put a price on a band such as Oasis, can you? She added, Bernard, I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, people will pay to see them, and so will everyone else. The news had also sparked a massive reaction online and a flood of memes and jokes. The Oasis reunion is just the Eras tour for people who can't stand up without their knees sounding like an elephant walking around on bubble wrap, wrote one Twitter user, referring to Taylor Swift's recent live shows. Blur should also launch comeback gigs on the exact same dates as Oasis to really give it that authentic 90s vibe, wrote another. So the gigs dates are as follows. So for venues, etc. So on the 4th and 5th of July, they will be. So this is all in 2025, as they will be at. So the 4th and 5th of July 2025, they will be at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. I've been there myself. It's a very good looking venue, and a very good looking stadium. It's a rugby stadium. It's something like a 70 some odd thousand seat stadium, or thereabouts. And so, and then on the 11th, 12th, 19th, and 20th of July, they are at Heaton Park in Manchester, which is a 80,000 seat capacity arena, stadium sort of place. The 25th, 26th of July, and the 2nd and 3rd of August, they are at Wembley Stadium down in London. On the 8th and 9th of August, they are at Murrayfield Stadium in Edinburgh in Scotland. And then on the 16th and 17th of August, they are at Croke Park in Dublin in the Republic of Ireland. I'm surprised on how they're not doing somewhere in Belfast, if I'm being honest with you, and then done, sort of all 4 nations of the UK plus the Republic of Ireland. So done England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland. I get that the Republic of Ireland technically isn't British, but like part of the UK. But So this article also goes on to say It's not just us normal Oasis fans who are excited. Plenty of celebrities have also been sharing their thoughts this morning on the band's reunion. On Instagram, English singer-songwriter Tom Grennan described it as massive. On X, formerly known as Twitter, the football pundit and former player Stan Collymore said Oasis were part of what reinvented British cool in the 90s. Even ahead of the announcement, famous faces were weighing in on the rumours. Irish duo Jedward. I completely forgot that Jedward fucking existed till now. Oh my god. So Irish duo Jedward celebrated the possibility of a reunion by reposting a video of John covering Wonderwall with the actress Tara Reid in 2022. I bet that was fucking. I bet a few windows were smashed for that. Edith Bowman, a radio DJ and television presenter, said people would be hitting refresh on their browsers as they try and get tickets. I think for a lot of people of that age when they first came out, and I was one of them, they were their Beatles. She told BBC Radio 4's Today program. They were a band that appealed immediately, that they connected with them, and it was funny listening to their music this morning. There's something incredibly timeless about them. She said their fans would span generations. My brother passed down to his son, who cannot wait to hopefully see them live. My 11-year-old is desperate to learn to play them on the guitar, she said. Furthermore, Oasis' ability to win fans reach. Oasis' ability to win fans reach across generations is evident from TikTok. Liv23 calls herself the Oasis girl on the social media platform. A huge fan. She has sung covers of the band's songs online, including tracks such as Morning Glory and Cigarettes and Alcohol. She told the BBC News the reunion was a quote-unquote huge shock, as she never thought she would hear them live. Noel Gallagher is one of the greatest lyricists of all time. Slide Away is a great love song, she said. She added that the band's music means the world to her. I'm going to try so hard to get tickets to both Manchester and London shows, but it'll be a struggle. Music journalist Katie Macbeth, also 23, feels the band have an enduring appeal, and the gigs next summer will feature a mixture of older and younger fans. They're like a generational band that people know. She told BBC Radio 1's Newsbeat, even if you don't know anything deeper, everyone knows Wonderwall or Don't Look Back in Anger. Katie, 23, recalls growing up and hearing Oasis as a child, but says these days through TikTok and streaming, they've managed to still have the draw. It's something that everyone has delved into, she added. The announcement was published on the brothers' social media accounts, as well as the official Oasis page. The shows will mark the group's first live dates in 16 years. Organisers said tickets would go on sale on Saturday, the 31st of August. So yesterday, at the time of recording this podcast. In a statement, Oasis commented, the guns have fallen silent. The stars have aligned. The great wait is over. Come see it. It will not be televised. The band said these dates will be their only dates in Europe next year. However, Oasis Live 25 has been described as a world tour, suggesting more dates will be announced soon. A rumoured Glastonbury appearance was not confirmed by the band. Oasis also confirmed the release of a 30th anniversary edition of their album, Definitely Maybe. Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham told BBC Breakfast a reunion tour was the news we've all been waiting for, and it would be a massive day for Manchester. Fans of the Manchester rock band have pleaded with the brothers to regroup since they broke up in 2009 after a backstage brawl at the Rock on Sign festival in Paris. It is 30 years since that chart-topping album, Definitely Maybe, turned up the Gallagher brothers into stars, helping to usher in the Britpop era and launching the Hellraising pair into a mega stardom. The group's mega hits include Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger, Stop Crying Your Heart Out. In 1996, around 2.5 million people applied for tickets to their two dates, Nebworth, which could hint at the demand the new gigs might see. However, the brothers have always had a fractious relationship, and a string of tours have fallen apart over the years, ending in the backstage fight in 2009 that resulted in Noel leaving the band. At the weekend, Liam Gallagher fueled reunion rumours, which had been circulating on social media at his headline Reading Festival set on Sunday evening, where he dedicated the Oasis track Half the World Away to his brother. Some have questioned what the real motivation and potential reunion after so many years of what the fuck is that word? Acrimony? I don't fucking know. Might be. Helen Brown, a music critic at The Independent, told the BBC News after the decades of going in, after the decades of going at each other with cricket bats and fire extinguishers, it's extraordinary that the Gallagher brothers seem to be getting along better. And maybe money is an incentive here, she added. Maybe they could put aside the differences to fill the coffers. Well, that Helen Brown from The Independent, has made literally the exact same point that I had actually made, saying that it could, part of the reason why they're doing this reunion tour could be because one of them's skint. You know what I mean? I've personally never been the biggest die-hard fan of Oasis, I would admit. I do like the music, but they're not my sort of... If I ever decided to listen to music, I've never really been like a big sort of music fan, sort of like point blank, but they wouldn't be my sort of go-to sort of group to listen to. Do you know what I mean? With me personally, I think I need to be in an Oasis mood. Do you know what I mean? To want to listen to Oasis. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to be in that sort of, like, I've got to be in the right sort of mood to want to listen to them. Do you know what I mean? Which is on the very, with me personally, this isn't a gripe at anyone else that listens to them and is actually a big fan of them, because I know a million people who are massive fucking fans of Oasis. Don't get me wrong, they don't produce bad fucking music either. Do you know what I mean? I personally just don't think that they're my go-to group, but yeah. So right. God, bloody hell. Yeah, so it's not a bad thing that they're getting back together because, like, as the BBC report said, it's it's good that they are getting back together. Because again, they do, even though they've not, done anything for 16 years now. In terms of doing well, in terms of like the music scene together, because I know that they've sort of vaguely been involved with it, sort of individually and whatever, and like they've sort of dipped in and out of like talk shows, with like I don't know Jonathan Ross and like the modern day Graham Norton, yeah, so and sort of any sort of interviews that they've done anywhere, since 2009 or whatever it was. I think it was from what the article I just read out was actually saying. It is, like they had been asked multiple times by multiple different interviews, if they ever want to go back, Liam and Noel Gallagher, if they are ever going to go back together, and whatever. And like I did sort of see a few sort of, like never say never sort of, like they pretty much had said, well, like, like never say never, but chances are probably not, sort of thing. But yeah, so I'm personally not going to go to one of these gigs because, quite frankly, judging by ticket prices, I would literally have to fucking get about 94 million different fucking mortgages. You know what I mean? So what site is this? So this is Gigsburg. So shall we say for the 4th of July, the US of A's Independence Day in 2025. So the Principality Stadium, fuck me, on the floor. All fees included. It doesn't say whereabouts, but 912.52, 913.05, 917.60, 900. So this one is upper tier block. U7 row 16, 930 solid. 930, 952, 20, 952, 32, 990. So the thousands, right? So floor 1,040. Fuck me, So what were the Ticketmaster prices? Because I see a lot of people were, mainly going off on one at Ticketmaster. So, right, Ticketmaster. Because I'd see a lot of people were like, I actually bumped into this bloke that I know yesterday, and he was something like 56,000th in the queue for one of the gigs that they were doing at Heaton Park on Ticketmaster, and I'm like, fuck, 56,000. Do you know what I mean? Do I need to log in? Because I'm not logged in on my Ticketmaster now. I fucking hope not. No, ABBA, concerts and tours, that'll be it. And so, yeah, people were literally waiting multiple hours after, being 50, 60, 70 plus thousand people, like the 76, like the 70,000th person in the queue. And then when they get down to being one of the final people in the queue to actually get a ticket, the ticket master had come back and said that they got to kick them off the site and whatever because they've got a feeling that they're like a bot sort of thing. And it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I personally know a couple of people that's happened to, where they've literally been, where there have literally been like many thousands of people ahead of them, tens of thousands of people like ahead of them, like in the queue. They then get down to one of the last sort of few people, and whatever, and then they get kicked off, like the Ticketmaster thing, and whatever, because they were a suspected bot on the site, and it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? After constantly like refreshing the page and whatever, I'm just trying to find Razor Light. No, ABC HHK LMNO. I should be all fucking up. So a bit more. Oasis, don't we? I fucking scroll past it. Duh. This is what you get when you're fucking talking quite a lot, doesn't it? So, the 4th of July in Cardiff at the Principality Stadium. I don't want to join the queue now. So, latest updates at 7:10 last night. There are no tickets available for the 4th of July gig at the Principality in Cardiff. So, so far, so good. So for the 5th of July, there's no tickets available for that via Ticketmaster. So let's try the 11th of July one at Eaton Park in Manchester. 7:11 p.m. There are currently no tickets available. Fuck me. Right, okay, so I guess it's literally just been a sellout through Ticketmaster and whatever. And then, so the 11th of July is sold out Heaton Park in Manchester. The 12th of July as well, even. All right, so what about the 16th of July? I'll tell you what. What about the 25th at Wembley? Right, so according to this, what one was I on? So I've just gone onto one of the Wembley things, and it said there are currently no tickets available. Please check back later as more may be released. All accessible tickets for this event are sold by Wembley Stadium and can be booked by calling the 0800 number for Wembley. Yeah, so they're literally all in very low availability. They only went on sale yesterday. You know what I mean? But I remember seeing a fellow referee in the wrestling business put up something saying that when he tried booking tickets through Ticketmaster for, I think it was the Wembley one, there was a ticket that wasn't on the the resale thing. It was through Ticketmaster themselves, so you weren't rebuying someone else's ticket. You were getting the ticket directly off Ticketmaster, and that was going for £8,030. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? Like when I first see that, do you know what I mean? So yeah, but £8,000. Do you know what I mean? Like I get it's Oasis at Wembley, but and it's like I've seen quite a few people say that they've noticed that, like yesterday, like they've noticed that, because there was such a high demand for tickets, like the more of demand that, like through Ticketmaster, that the more of a demand that the tickets are actually in, then the more expensive Ticketmaster actually put them and what have you. So I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? And what have you. And yeah, so, how many times have I used Ticketmaster? I think I've only actually, I've got an account with Ticketmaster, but I think I've only ever actually used it the once, and that was when I was actually at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Funny enough, the stadium that they're using in Cardiff for this Oasis tour. Yeah, I had brought a ticket for WWE Clash at the Castle through it, and like I ain't gonna complain of what I paid for the ticket from where I was sat. Personally, where I was sat was a really good view for me. When you include the ticket fees, etc., I think I ended up spending in and around 90 quid, and whatever. So yeah, like I think 90 quid. I can't remember if it was on the dot or like a couple of quid more or like a couple of quid less, but it was 90 something quid and what have you. That included, like the ticket, the tax, booking fee, ticket master fees, yada yada yada. From where I was sat, I'm not going to be a cunt and complain. Do you know what I mean? And like the view that I had, etc. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to complain. Do you know what I mean? Personally, that's just me. But again, obviously, for I don't know how much the tickets were actually selling for at thingy. Do you know what I mean? Through Ticketmaster. But I think, obviously Ticketmaster is one of the main ticket sites that people use to actually that like event organisers, actually use to sell tickets and what have you. Do you know what I mean? And so Oasis reunion. Cardiff. Not Card Factory. What the fuck do I want anything to do with the Card Factory for? So Cardiff tickets. So ticket price. So I hope this can tell me. Right, so this is a report by Sky News, headlined. So yeah, a report by Sky News entitled Oasis Reunion Live, tickets officially sold out as fans complain about surge in prices. Tickets have now officially sold out for the Oasis reunion tour that will see Liam and Noel Gallagher reunite after 15 years after the band split. The band will play across 17 shows across Cardiff, Manchester, Edinburgh, and Dublin as part of the Oasis Live 25 World Tour. And then, so a tweet put out by the official Oasis page literally yesterday, the day tickets went on sale. Oasis Live 25. Let me get rid of this fucking ad that's at the top of the screen. Why this? Yeah, I want to get rid of the ad because it's taking up fucking 3/4 of the screen. You cunt. That ain't going anywhere, is it? So Oasis Live 25 UK and Ireland tickets have now sold out. Please be aware of counterfeit and void tickets appearing on the secondary market. Tickets can only be resold at face value by Ticketmaster and Twickets. To which City Lights on Twitter had responded to that, saying, so by retweeting it, saying, is face value 150 quid or 350 quid? To Paul, Eyes on Me, face value unless it's on Ticketmaster, time to look back in anger. While a third added, face value is whatever the ticket was brought for. If the ticket was brought for 150, it's 150. If it was brought for 350, it's 350. Fans have complained about the hike in ticket prices throughout the afternoon after some ticket prices more than doubled, pushed by huge demand. The demand system was based on an implemented by Ticketmaster in 2022, which it said it was intended to stop touts and give more money to the artists themselves. The company said earlier that it does not set prices and shared a link to its website where it costs can be fixed or market based. So the 2025 tour for Oasis has now officially sold out in less than 24 hours. That's mental. Do you know what I mean? You know, they sold out, 17 shows on the same day. Like, obviously, there was going to be a surge for these tickets. Like, let's be real. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, I said earlier that Oasis are not my go-to band, but I know a million people whose go-to band they actually are. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, like, I'm sure that people from all over Europe, people from all over the world will be wanting to attend these shows. Do you know what I mean? You know, like, especially if, you know, because whether or not more shows are going to get announced between now and next year, do you know what I mean? You know, yeah, so, you know, it's, yeah, you know, I'm not surprised that they went as quickly as what they actually did. As you know, they're, you know, a band that they're a group that no one expected were going to get back together. Let's face it, you know what I mean. But you know, because it's been 16, so yeah, it will be 16 years next year from when they actually last played together, which was at that show in which was at that gig in France. Back in 2009, where they had the bust up backstage. Yeah, personally, I'm not surprised. Personally, I'm surprised that they're doing the reunion, if you want my honest opinion, not my honest personal shoot opinion. But I'm also not surprised, you know, personally, I'm not surprised that they went as quick as they actually did. Do you know what I mean? You know, and yeah, because, you know, like, arenas are only able to house so many people. Do you know what I mean? Like, so many, are only able to house so many people and are only able to fit in so many people. Do you know what I mean? So there are only, you know, X amount of tickets available. Do you know what I mean? And if you've got literally millions of people wanting tickets, literal fucking like millions of people like wanting tickets. Do you know what I mean? Then it's, if they're already doing, you know, like 17 shows, do you know what I mean? Which I think, you know, when you got some people who are literally wanting to buy, you know, tickets to every single gig, you know, I think, you know, that's sort of greed, really. Do you know what I mean? You know, and what have you? Do you know what I mean? If they're doing it, so obviously like Cardiff, they're there on the 4th and 5th of July. If you want to do it like, hang on. Let me rephrase that. If you want to do one at Cardiff, one at London, and what have you, but not every single night at the same venue. Do you know what I mean? You know, because it's like, you know, I personally don't know how gigs work. You know, like again, I've never really been the biggest sort of fan when it comes to gigs and music and what have you, and bands and what have you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I went to my first gig, you know, like I'm 19 and I went to my first gig last Saturday with Nerdic Pro stablemate, Mr. Richie Stoneham, at the Lattice House in Kings Lynn here in Norfolk. Do you know what I mean? Never been to a gig before, but yeah, you know, and what have you. Do you know, like, I've been to pubs no end of times where they've had bands on and what have you, but this was classified as a gig. Do you know what I mean? You know, like, I've never really been to a gig, but last time was a gig. Do you know what I mean? Apparently, like, I don't really know how any of that sort of works. Again, I'm not really that sort of person that's sort of interested and intrigued by all that. Do you know what I mean? That's just me personally. Do you know what I mean? You know, but yeah. So, fucking yeah. So, but yeah. So, yeah. So, like a bit of a sort of backstory into this new series here on YouTube that I should have really mentioned about earlier. Oh, lovely. So the number one content. So the world title rankings for the WF world title have been released by the chief executive Matt Classic. Lovely. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so the whole sort of point of this new series here on YouTube is to sort of branch away from like the wrestling sort of side of things. Yes, fundamentally we are primarily a wrestling based podcast, but that's mainly over on Facebook. You will occasionally see podcasts here on YouTube that have been brought over. So like they'll go on to our Facebook first and then like go live on our Facebook first and then come over here onto YouTube like a few days later and all that. But primarily wrestling will stay on Facebook and we'll like bring the podcasts from our Facebook over here onto YouTube like within the space of a week of them going live on Facebook. They'll then come on over here. So here onto our YouTube channel. But on here on YouTube, this will be sort of where we go live with, you know, like musicians, journalists, fucking, you know, people that are not involved with wrestling. Do you know what I mean? You know, and what have you, and then doing podcasts again that are not to do with wrestling. There will be wrestling content in these podcasts. Do you know what I mean? And what have you? But naming it the Nerdic Pro Series, I thought, you know, like the podcast is called the Nerdic Pro Podcast. Do you know what I mean? I thought if we wanted to do it, like if we wanted to create like a nerdy sort of type based series, then we'd want to call it after our actual podcasting name, which is the Nerdic Pro Podcast. So call it the Nerdic Pro Series. So yeah, that's what we did. And yeah, so we will be doing this 2 to 3 times a week. And yeah, which will be fun. Do you know what I mean? So we'll go over wrestling, we'll go over boxing, excuse me, we'll go over MMA, football, soccer, the NFL, fucking movies, TV, music, like I've just done with Oasis for the last fucking 3/4 of an hour. What else? You know, again, TV, film, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Sort of big sort of news headlines, etc. Do you know what I mean? And what have you? Like we won't get into anything political or anything because I've got a rule on the Nerdic Pro Podcast as the owner of the Nerdic Pro Podcast that when it comes to the Nerdic Pro team, we've got a group chat on Facebook and what have you. So everyone that works on the Nerdic Pro Podcast, physically not on screen and not behind the scenes, we're not allowed to discuss, you know, political bits and pieces, you know, like like parliamentary sort of bits and pieces and what have you, because like I don't want political arguments in the group chat, in the comments, what have you. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to get into that. Do you know what I mean? And what have you. So so our good friends at the Allied Independent Wrestling Federations, they are the largest global alliance of wrestling promotions on the planet. We here at the Nerdic Pro Podcast are honored to be a part of the ARWF network. So they currently have 150 wrestling promotions spread out across 47 different countries across the world. So the current standings for the ARWF World Heavyweight Champion are so the champion Bruiser Koloff, ranking number 1 is the unfortunate now former ARWF World Champion, good friend of ours here on the Nerdic Pro Podcast, the Golden Boy, Greg Anthony, former 3-time NWA National Heavyweight Champion, residing out of Dyersburg, Tennessee. Number 2 is the ARWF World Television Champion, hailing out of Las Vegas, Nevada, of Kevin Phoenix. The ARWF European Champion, hailing out of Valletta in Malta, Gianni Valletta. Valletta, I think that's how you pronounce it. So the ARWF National Champion, hailing out of St. Louis, Missouri, of Steve Fender. Number 5, the ARWF America's Champion, hailing out of Cleveland, Ohio, is Lou Gotti. The ARWF International Champion, hailing out of Barcelona, Spain, is Victor Castella. The ARWF Latin American Champion, hailing out of Torreon in Mexico, is Hijo de Silva King. The ARWF SoCal Champion is Slice Boogie. The ARWF British Commonwealth Heavyweight Champion is hailing out of Laval in Quebec in Canada, which is Wilson Colas. And then the AIWF Midwest Champion, hailing out of Louisville, Kentucky, is Stephen Storm. So those are the current rankings for the ARWF World Heavyweight Championship, currently held by the new champion of Bruiser Koloff from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So these are the current rankings for September of 2024. So speaking of the ARWF, if you've not already, then please do go follow the Nerdic Pro Podcast Facebook page, where you can catch us on the 9. I need to double check. I think it's the 19th, 16th, 13th. Sorry, bear with 2 seconds. I just need to double check the dates for Rick Diesel and with Clara Carter. So we've recently welcomed on the ARWF World Cruiserweight Champion of the Stray Dog Barrett Brown. He has recently been seen over the past couple of weeks in Ring of Honor. He's also wrestled for companies like the NWA. He was the final ever National Wrestling Alliance NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion before Billy Corgan took over, and literally every title was vacated apart from the World's title, etc. He's also wrestled for WWE, Evolve, New Japan. He was a big integral part of New Japan Strong during the sort of like pandemic era. of wrestling, being a part of the Stray Dog Society, or like whatever it was called, which is where the Stray Dog name came from for him. And yeah, so he's also wrestled for Evolve, done a couple of bits and pieces for AEW, and recently Ring of Honor as well. So yeah, so on the Thursday, the 19th of September 2024, we will have the honor in welcoming onto the Nerdic Pro podcast none other than the founder and owner of the Allied Independent Wrestling Federations, a pioneer and a legend in the Carolinas in the US of A. Yeah, so that will be with a legend of the Carolinas, of Rick Diesel, the owner and founder of the AIWF, a man whose career spans way back since the late 80s. And yeah, so we did say that you couldn't get any bigger than this announcement. And yeah, so I need to double check to make sure I've got my bearings right with Clara Carter. I think, don't quote me, I think it's the 26th of September we've got Clara Carter booked. Sorry, bear with me 2 minutes. Clara. Sorry, yeah, literally bear with me 2 minutes whilst I try to find the date for that podcast with Clara Carter coming up. So yeah, as seen in AEW, so I'm just reading off the post here that I put up. As seen in All Elite Wrestling with the Nerdic Pro podcasts, ever-growing friendship, partnership, and alliance with the Global Wrestling Alliance of the AIWF, we can officially announce the first ever female wrestler and the first ever female in-ring wrestler to appear on the Nerdic Pro podcast is none other than the current AIWF World Women's Champion, Clara Carter. This podcast will be taking place on September 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. USA Eastern Time. So yeah, let's hope to be seeing you all there. So yeah, so that's at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So on the East Coast, on the 23rd of September. So on the 23rd of this month. So yeah, that's Clara Carter as seen in AEW recently. So yeah, as well as we've had several people on before, like involved with the AIWF. We've got Matt Classic, the chief executive of the AIWF. We've had the Golden Boy Greg Anthony come on. Before we've had Barrett Brown on. We've got Rick Diesel coming up, who's the owner of the AIWF. We've got Clara Carter, etc. So yeah, so sort of several people coming on through our good working relationship with the AIWF. We are also going to be partnering up with the AIWF more regularly towards the end of October, start of November, sort of onwards, to host the All-Star Wrestling Quiz League. And obviously the Matt Classic, the chief executive, will be working alongside us for it. We've got the Golden Boy Greg Anthony on. So off the top of my head, for people that are coming on who are a part of the All-Star Wrestling Quiz League roster and who will be working alongside us, the Chief Executive of the AWF, Matt Classic, the Golden Boy, Greg Anthony, the man himself from the WrestleVille podcast, again, good friend of ours, Mr. Vinny Berry, Richie Stoneham, Stuart Jones, Robert Evans. Wrestler-wise, again, obviously, Greg Anthony. We will be seeing... Right, so Joel Cobra, Dan Domain, Matty Mayhem, Callum Jakester, Slugger Hampton. If Mr. Lee manages to defeat Greg Anthony, then Mr. Lee in a quiz. So Mr. Lee, Gareth Angel, Ben Taylor, who, fingers crossed, should be making his in-ring return at the start of next year or going into next year. He will be making his comeback to the Nerdic Pro podcast in nearly 2 years as well. Who else we got? Off the top of my head, Joel Cobra, Dan Domain, Caliber Jakester. Fuck me. Yeah, so again, loads of people have agreed to come on and are a part of our roster. So yeah, I am currently speaking to a few people. Like, a few messages were sent out not long before this podcast came live to invite people onto the said All-Star Wrestling Quiz League. So yeah, so stay tuned for some more roster announcements for the All-Star Wrestling Quiz League, which will be started up in just under 2 months' time. So, yeah. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the Nerdic Pro podcast, my name is, as per usual, been Bobby effing Salastar. I want to be bringing this podcast to an end now. Yeah. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the Nerdic Pro podcast, my name is, as per usual, been Bobby effing Salastar, and I hope to be seeing you all later. Thank you all very much. Goodbye.